We are now in Kant lecture, part 9, where we're going to discuss respect for humanity as an end in itself through 4 examples. The 4 by now familiar examples of suicide, deception, talent development, and assisting others. We'll also discuss the notion of the whole human being that emerges in this discussion. Rational being is an end in itself and is of absolute worth. The goodwill turns out to be, in addition to choosing the duty to act according to universal laws of rational nature, also a choosing of the duty to treat rational beings as ends in themselves and not as means only. Let us next illustrate the latter point using the already used examples of duty concerning suicide, faulty promising, developing one's talents, and assisting others. Concerning suicide, Kant claims that suicide is a use of a rational being's humanity and a means to the end of desire that is freedom from pain. The same goes for all other kinds of self-harm. They are not consistent with goodwill if they are merely to achieve freedom from pain. The goodwill places a duty on rational beings to go on living in order to bring about absolute worth in the world, and that is exercise of goodwill by a rational being out of respect for that absolute worth. Concerning deceitful promises to others, clearly, when we lie to someone, we intend to use them as a means to an end they do not consent to. They're used as a thing and not respected as a rational being or a person. Same goes for theft and murder and other acts of harming others. None of these acts are consistent with the goal of respecting the human being as an exerciser of goodwill as an end in itself. But all of these acts are a means to satisfaction of desire for some kind of a benefit. There is thus a duty of the goodwill not to deceive or harm in other ways rational beings and their rational goal of exercising the goodwill. Concerning the neglect of developing one's talents, Kant claims that viewing rational personhood, the choosing of the goodwill, as an end requires developing the talents that facilitate as many actions of the goodwill as possible. There's a duty of the goodwill, in other words, to develop talents for the greater perfection of rational humanity in its exercise of the goodwill. To respect humanity as an end in itself is to develop all kinds of talents that humanity uses to achieve its purposes. Concerning the neglect to assist others, Kant makes a similar claim that to treat humanity as an end and not merely as a means that one promotes the ends of humanity, purposes of humanity, in oneself, as in the previous discussion of developing of one's talents, but also in others, as is the point in assisting of others. Thus, there is a duty of goodwill to assist others. To view humanity and others as an end in itself is to assist them. What is of note in Kant's discussion of the last point is that he says that the end or purpose that is by nature in all human beings is happiness. And the duty to assist others is really a duty to promote their projects by which they seek happiness. The last point seems to suggest that viewing rational human beings as ends in themselves means viewing the whole human being, including desire and the physical nature part of the human being as an end in itself, not the rational part of human beings only. Although the rational part must have greater importance, since that is the source of the absolute value of a human being, while the physical happiness-seeking part gives only relative value to human being. Thus, to treat humanity in oneself and others as an end in itself would mean not only the willing and supporting of the goodwill in oneself and others, but also willing and supporting their pursuit of happiness at the same time. Needless to say, this pursuit of happiness must not contradict, but be harmonious with the willing of the goodwill. Therefore, not only the assistance of others, but also the developing of one's own talents is in greater part to support the willing of the goodwill, but is also, to a smaller extent, in support of pursuit of happiness that is harmonious with the goodwill.